Hello, family. I hope that this video finds everybody safe and well this Wednesday evening. Welcome to Wednesday's Words of Wellness. Yes, Wednesday's Words of Wellness. And so today, I sensed as I woke up this morning that Papa wanted me to share a testimony that aligns with how His good spirit has instructed me when I'm in a crisis in how to pray. Is there anybody out there today who's in a crisis? Maybe you're the one who's in a crisis. Maybe you know somebody who is smack dab in the middle of a crisis and they don't know what to do, or you don't know what to do, and you're wondering, where do I go from here? I don't know what to do. I don't have the solution. This thing right here is this is past my pay grade. It's bigger than what I even thought I'd have to deal with. And so each one of us, we've gone through crisis in our lives. And as I've gone through a particular crisis, Papa put into action. He allowed me to practice what His good spirit had already taught me. But in His kindness and in His graciousness and in His mercy and in His love, He will give you opportunities to practice what He's trying to teach you. And so in this example of practice, Papa had given me so many ideas, just began to download idea after idea after idea. And I put them all on my USB stick as a means of keeping my ideas organized, keeping them in one place. And so this is akin to some real fertile ground right here. This is holding, I anticipate, much fruit. And so it's my work. It's the work of my hands that He's given unto me. And thus it's so very important to me. And one day I took this to the library in order to use their printers. I needed to print something out. And unfortunately, I left this in the printer that I was working on. And I didn't realize it until I had gotten home that evening. And the library was closed. I couldn't get up and run back to the library to retrieve it because there was no way to get in. And so I started to panic. However, I knew that these ideas were given to me by Papa. They were His ideas. And so I talked to Him about it. I asked Him to help me get it back. And I really believed He was. I really believed He was. So I calmed down enough to whereby I was able to go to sleep. And then I got up that next morning and I went to the library. I looked in the computer where it was at. It wasn't there. However, I turned to the librarian, told her what I was looking for, was able to describe it for and everything, and they have a lost and found. And so she looked in the drawer and she didn't see my USB stick. That is when my heart sank. I didn't know what else to do. And she told me, she said, sometimes people just take those things and they don't bring them back. And so, not knowing what else to do, being smack dab in the middle of my own crisis, I went back to my car in despair, upset, just feeling lost because so much work was on there, is on there. And so I couldn't drive off though, y'all. I sat there. And the Spirit of the Lord reminded me of how I had been taught to pray in a crisis. And so my prayer simply was, Papa, what next? What next? I couldn't fix my mouth to say anything else. Just all I had energy for was, Papa, what next? And so as I sat there, I couldn't drive off. I couldn't give up, y'all. And so I got back out of the car, went right back into the library, asked the librarian for a pen and a sticky note, and I was going to give her my name and my number and ask her if anybody turned in what I had described to her, would she just give me a call? And at that time, she looked at me and she said, it's real important to you, isn't it? And y'all, that's when I began to tear up. I began to tear up and the tears just began to come. And I told her yes. And it was something about my tears and the love that was in her heart already that touched her. Nobody's going to tell me any different. There was something about my tears that moved her to an extra level of care, that moved her to show me compassion, a perfect stranger. And here she goes and she says, wait a minute, let me look one more place. I knew what was moving her. Love was moving her. The love that was already inside of her moved her heart to compassion. And she went and looked in this other drawer and she pulls this out and she says, is this it? Yes, that's it. I still get happy, y'all, because I know who moved her heart to compassion. He wanted me to be willing to be vulnerable enough. He wanted me to not give up. He wanted to see I was going to go the extra mile. He wanted to see, I believe also, was I willing to be obedient as the Spirit of the Lord instructed me just simply to pray, what next? Say what next? And as I said it, as I didn't give up, as I showed my vulnerability, because let me tell you, sometimes somebody needs to know, if your what next is to simply to cry, is simply to show your vulnerability and your tears, if that's part of your what next, then that's okay. You can claim those tears. You can release those tears. Those tears are yours and they're real. And that's okay if that's part of your what next. And so as I expressed my pain through my tears, it moved her heart to compassion and crisis averted. Problem solved. Papa allowed my prayer the night before that I had originally prayed to be answered. But I had to keep talking to him, y'all. I had to ask, what next? What next? And so for somebody tonight who's in a crisis, don't give up. Don't give up. Ask him. Pray to him. What next? Yeah, you may have prayed the night before, but you pray without ceasing. And you ask him, what next? And see, won't he answer? See, won't he give you instruction? See, won't he lead you to the what next? So with that, I hope that I've encouraged somebody tonight. I hope that gives somebody hope. He hears you, even when you just say 2 words, what next? Doesn't have to be a grandiose prayer. You don't have to ramble on. You don't have to have a big vocabulary. He knows your heart. And what next? He hears. And so with that, I hope that I've used my words well tonight, so that somebody who is in the midst of a crisis right now, that just those 2 words will help you to calm down. Those 2 words will help you to just release some of that stress that you're under, and will encourage you to know that God hears you. He hears it. Just 2 words, what next? All right. I hope with that I've used my words well, so that somebody will be wonderfully well. Until next time, beloved.